we're working on money saving recipes. And certainly we're working on ideas of things that perhaps we have recipes for already, but we wanted to be able to do it in a money saving way. So that they're budget friendly and they won't break the bank. Because so often we'll prepare a meal and we're not thinking or we're shopping, and before we know it, $100 or more has gone out the door. Well, we're working on that. And we're trying to get our numbers down so that we can save money. Now, one of the things as we turn and go into and get closer to the holidays, I'm starting now because I wanted to take a look at those things that I use consistently throughout the holiday as well as every day. And so those are going to be some of the things that I want to make sure that I already have on my pantry shelf, whether it's the regular pantry, whether it goes in the freezer, or whether it's something that can be stored in the refrigerator. We want to make sure that most of what we need is already in your house and ready to go. Now, when you're figuring your budget, particularly for your holiday meals, I know I have to think ahead. I have to think about what's the meat going to cost? When is it going to go on sale? What type of meat am I going to serve? Now, typically, I will prepare a turkey, but sometimes turkeys are very expensive, and depending upon the size that you need. And it may be that if you're a small family or you're trying to stay within your budget, then you might have to think another option. Now, let me give you just a couple of tips. I want to keep my budget, if at all possible, between $30 to $50. And that is feeding a family of 4 to 6. And I think that's reasonable. $50 certainly is reasonable. That's from soup to nuts, And so these are some of the things that you want to think about. And you may be thinking about, if you're a young home cook, or what do I need to have on my pantry shelves anyway? So let's talk about some of that. Now, we may have to adjust our menu just a little bit. And if that's the case, it's all right, as long as what we're preparing is absolutely delicious. Because for holiday, we want our meals to be slamming. And so we want to make sure that what we have is good. Now, I have already purchased, and I'm using a store brand, I have already purchased my black eyed peas. I caught them on sale. And I've already purchased several cans of black eyed peas for the new year. So I'm going that far out, making sure that these things are already on my shelf. I also picked up 4 cans of whole berry cranberry sauce because we love cranberry, and I need cranberry for Thanksgiving. I need cranberry for Christmas, and most of the time I even have a little cranberry for New Year. So I have 4 cans. I got those pretty early. I wanted to make sure they were there. I got them at a time where I had a little extra money, so I picked those up. So the 4 cans for each holiday, I use a can per holiday, they are done. Now, something that you may not have thought about is soup. Soup is something that you always want on your pantry shelf. If you are fortunate enough to be able to catch a top brand on sale, which sometimes it happens, and we're early enough at this point that you should be able to find, between now and the end of the month, you should be able to find some soup on sale. And, try different stores. Don't just shop one store. I know some people do, but I like to go to 2, 3, 4 stores because I want to be able to get the best deal. And so, sometimes I'll go to Aldi's. Aldi's will have their brand of cream of mushroom soup, which is something that I keep on my shelf year round because I use it year round. But I use it especially for my green bean casserole. So, the cream of celery, I've got 4 cans of cream of celery. I've got that ready for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I'm going to use it in a dish for New Year's. Done. That's done. I've also picked up some of my favorite pie fillers. I've got some pumpkin in case I want to make a pumpkin pie. And we are fans of apple cobblers. I've already picked up the apples for that. And yes, I'm going to be using canned apples. And so I tried to find these. And I found that in most cases, particularly for the apple pie, I needed the store brand because the other brands were a little bit pricey. So I stayed with the store brand. And then if I need to doctor it up with a little extra cinnamon and nutmeg or whatever it may be, I can certainly do that. Now is the time to pick up at least a 5-pound bag of all-purpose flour. And in fact, that needs to be a part, if at all possible, needs to be a part of your monthly item. Always have flour. Always have sugar. Always have salt and pepper. Those are 4 critical things that you want to have on your shelf. Then we get into always have brown sugar. Because, or you can, if you're more adventurous, you can certainly make your brown sugar, but I don't have time for that. So I buy the brown sugar, and I usually compare the size and the price, store brand versus whatever the going bag of brown sugar is. I try to compare those two, see what the best price is, and that's the one I pick up. So I keep brown sugar always on my shelf because hey, I need it in cooking. I need it for baking. There's just numerous things that you will pull in your brown sugar for. Now is a good time to pick up the vanilla that you need for some of your desserts. And if you're cooking just for your family, then certainly you're going to want to have these things already in place. Don't wait until a week before Thanksgiving and start running around trying to get all of it done. Have it on your shelf, ready to go. And that helps you to ease through the holiday. And it doesn't burn your budget. You can cook a friendly holiday meal and stay within your budget. So that's a good thing. Now, I also suggest that perhaps at each payday, you might be able to take maybe $5 to $10 of your money and either set it aside or use that $5 to $10 to stock your shelf with some of those things that you might need. I just pulled out the black beans. That just happened to be the beans that I got first. But I have black beans, I have white beans, I have pinto beans, I've got red chili beans. I've got all of those on the shelf. So when I'm spending my $10 for restocking my pantry, then I'm going to pick up at least 2 each of my beans. That's going to be one thing that's going to be on the shelf. The other thing that you're going to want to pick up are going to be like green beans, basics, corn, mixed vegetables, because, and I'm saying you want to have a good supply of canned goods because of the fact, I know mixed vegetables, canned, may not be your favorite, but should something happen and your power go out, then you got your canned goods to help sustain you, because otherwise, your freezer, things may be melting and you may not be able to cook fast enough to get the value out of what's in your freezer. So have canned goods always on your shelf. Another item that I have just been loving is using my canned Hunt's pasta sauce. Now, does it have to be Hunt's? No, this just happens to be the one that I have, and I try to catch several cans. I get several cans when I can catch it on a good sale, and probably at least once or twice a month, I'll pick up an extra can. So at this point, I've got about 5 or 6 cans of Hunt's. And when I want to make a good soup, like my pasta fagioli, I only need 1 or 2 cans of my Hunt's pasta sauce. Now, you could certainly use the jar pasta sauce. And if you have one that is your favorite, I know I've got a couple of jar favorites as well. But I have been leaning more toward the canned goods. And another reason, I keep additional cans because I work.
This is where I go every Wednesday. I work with some of the greatest ladies and gentlemen every week, serving those who need help.
Every week on Wednesday, you know exactly where I am. I'm at the soup kitchen. And so when I go, we take canned goods so that we can share for those, everybody who comes to a soup kitchen is not homeless. Sometimes people who come to the soup kitchen are people who are using are trying to stretch their benefits, whether it be SNAP or whatever program that they're on. They're just trying to stretch what they have. So sometimes we would just put a full table full of canned goods, things that are beneficial that they can open up and they can use. And then that way they can pick up say 2 or 3 or 4 cans of whatever we have for that day, depending upon how many people and how many canned goods come in. Then we can let them know how many cans that they can pick up, because we're just doing it as a small group. Now, if that happens, then true enough, I'm using some of the canned goods on my shelf, but then I know that when it's time to go to the grocery that I need to pick up additional items. Another thing, I have already picked up all of the elbow macaroni, probably that I'm going to need between now and Easter. They were on sale, and I picked up 4 boxes of elbow macaroni. Now, elbow macaroni is not just for macaroni and cheese, even though that's awfully good. You can make macaroni salad. You use elbow macaroni in your pasta fagioli. You have certain soups, your cheeseburger, a cheeseburger soup. You use the elbow macaroni in there too. So, elbow macaroni is used for so many different things. Excuse me. So you want to have those items on your shelf. Now, today I'm just giving you a quick overview of those things that I'm trying to accumulate so that I can make sure that by the time I get to November, that my pantry is ready for cooking. And something else that I keep all the time, and you can see my jar's getting low, but I keep rice all the time. When I have a chance, I'll go to the Asian market, the Oriental market, and I will pick up a pretty large bag of rice, bring it home, put it into containers, and some of it goes into the freezer, actually, so that it stays. I don't have to worry about bugs, or I will do an oxygen depletion little packet, throw it in, seal it up, and keep rice on the shelf as well, because rice helps to stretch your meal. Now, if you like mashed potatoes, and maybe fresh potatoes aren't readily available, or maybe sometimes the prices go up, then you might have packets of mashed potatoes, instant potatoes that you can prepare that are perfect for your meals that you're going to have. It could be a shepherd's pie. You need some mashed potatoes. Put your mix in, mix it up, make your mashed potatoes, and spread it over your shepherd pie. You might even add a little bit of that, of the mashed potato mix to a soup to help thicken it and to add more nutrition to the soup. So these are all little tips along the way. So I'm hoping that you're going to join me on the journey of getting ready. We are prepping because we've got money-saving meals. We want to make sure that we're putting those meals together. I am trying my best to keep those meals as close to $10 a meal. And depending upon the size of your family, if your family maybe is 8 rather than 6, it may be that you have to add just a little bit extra. And it could be just a matter of adding vegetables, extra vegetables, not necessarily meat. Because when you think about it, the most expensive part of your budget is involved with meat. So for the holidays, I'm going to do a holiday chicken, a huge hen that was so much less than a turkey. And it's just perfect for a family of 4 or 5. And really, depending upon how old the 6th person is, you could probably get 6 people out of this hen. So we're going to take a look at that, as well as we're going to be making our dressing, our southern cornbread dressing. And some other things to think about are the fact that if you aren't practicing your skills at making bread, making your cornbread, making your rolls, making those kinds of things, then now's the time to start the practice, and you will know which recipe works perfectly. So we're going to be working on that as well. So I'm so looking forward to having you right here in the kitchen, because we got a lot to do between now and the end of the year. So we're going to do it together.